Imagine this. India, home to over 1.4 billion people, is on the brink of becoming a $10 trillion economy. But what's fueling this rapid transformation? Beyond the tech giants and established conglomerates, it's the fast-growing startups. Companies that are disrupting industries, introducing new technologies, and driving innovation. At the heart of this boom lies a crucial factor: early-stage funding. The lifeblood of startups. This funding is what turns ideas into thriving businesses capable of shaping the future of not just India but the global economy. Today, we're diving into the critical role of startups in India's economic rise. From the challenges they face in securing early capital to how they are revolutionizing sectors like fintech, healthcare, and education, we'll explore how these startups are poised to reshape the future. Ready to discover how India's entrepreneurial ecosystem could be the key to unlocking a $10 trillion economy? Let's get into it. Welcome to the AI Lib. India's startup ecosystem is not just a buzzword. It's the engine driving the next phase of the nation's economic development. In recent years, startups have emerged as a major force in job creation, innovation, and wealth generation. The country has become the third-largest startup hub in the world, trailing only the US and China. With more than 100 unicorns, private companies valued at over $1 billion. The success of startups is crucial for India's economic ambitions, especially its goal of reaching a $10 trillion GDP. But how do these fledgling companies contribute to such a monumental economic leap? Startups serve as innovation hubs, rapidly developing new technologies and business models that disrupt traditional industries. In sectors like fintech, for example, Indian startups have leapfrogged traditional banking systems, offering digital payment solutions, peer-to-peer lending, and financial inclusion tools for the unbanked. Similarly, healthtech startups are providing solutions that increase access to healthcare through telemedicine and affordable diagnostics, addressing critical gaps in India's healthcare infrastructure. But it's not just about technology. Startups are also critical job creators. In 2021 alone, India's startup ecosystem created over 1.6 million jobs, and this number is expected to grow as the ecosystem matures. As more startups scale, they not only provide direct employment but also stimulate ancillary industries, everything from logistics and retail to legal services and IT. Moreover, startups are playing a pivotal role in boosting India's exports. Tech-driven companies, especially in SaaS, software as a service, and e-commerce, are now looking beyond Indian borders, bringing in foreign revenue and boosting the country's global economic footprint. In essence, Indian startups are not just building for India, they're building for the world, and this outward expansion is key to India's $10 trillion ambition. However, for startups to fulfill their potential, they need early-stage funding. Without it, even the most innovative ideas can fail to take off. In the next section, we'll explore why early-stage funding is the critical missing piece in India's startup puzzle and how addressing this gap could unlock unprecedented growth. At the heart of any thriving startup ecosystem lies one key ingredient: capital. For many entrepreneurs, securing early-stage funding is the difference between scaling a business and watching it fizzle out. In India, this has become a significant hurdle. Despite the growing number of unicorns and high-profile startup successes, early-stage funding remains a bottleneck for most founders. So, why is early-stage funding so critical? The first few years of a startup's life are its most precarious. During this time, founders are experimenting with product development, refining their business models, and trying to achieve market fit, all while burning through capital. Without sufficient early investment, many startups find themselves struggling to bring their products to market or scale operations, leading to premature closures. Early-stage funding provides a lifeline by offering founders the runway they need to focus on core product development without constantly worrying about cash flow. It also helps startups hire key talent, invest in marketing, and build infrastructure that allows them to scale effectively. More importantly, early-stage funding often acts as validation. When a startup secures investment, it signals to the market and other investors that the business has potential, opening doors for future rounds of funding and strategic partnerships. In India, however, securing this early capital can be especially challenging. While there's no shortage of capital for late-stage companies, those with proven market traction, early-stage startups often struggle to convince investors. This is partly due to the high-risk nature of these investments. Many early-stage investors are wary of backing companies that don't yet have a clear path to profitability or scalable growth, leaving founders to bootstrap or cobble together small investments from friends and family. The fragmented nature of early-stage investment in India compounds the problem. Founders often have to navigate a patchwork of angel investors, venture capitalists, and government grants, each with different expectations and timelines. This piecemeal approach can slow down the growth of even the most promising startups. To address this gap, there's a growing need for more structured, institutionalized early-stage funding. Dedicated pre-seed funds are essential for simplifying the process and providing entrepreneurs with the resources they need to focus on building their businesses. And as we'll explore in the next section, this kind of funding could be the key to unlocking India's next wave of startup growth. Government support has been one of the most significant catalysts for the growth of startups in India. Initiatives like Startup India, launched in 2016, and Digital India have not only encouraged entrepreneurship, but also helped reduce the regulatory and financial barriers that once held back aspiring founders. However, while these programs have been instrumental, there's still a long way to go in terms of creating a seamless environment for startup growth. The Startup India initiative, for example, offers a wide array of benefits, including tax exemptions, easy access to government grants, and simplified compliance regulations. These measures have made it significantly easier for startups to get off the ground. However, the program's reach is still largely concentrated in major urban centers like Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi. Startups in smaller cities and rural areas, which also boast entrepreneurial talent, often struggle to access these benefits. The government has also played a key role in improving India's digital infrastructure, making it easier for tech-driven startups to scale. Under the Digital India initiative, internet penetration in rural areas has increased dramatically, opening up new markets for startups. This has been particularly important for sectors like Fintech, e-commerce, and education, where access to digital infrastructure is essential for growth. But while these initiatives have been beneficial, they are not without their challenges. Bureaucracy and red tape can still slow down the process of accessing government support, particularly for early-stage startups. Additionally, while programs like Startup India provide grants and tax breaks, they don't address the broader issue of early-stage funding. Startups still need private investment to scale, and this is where the ecosystem remains underdeveloped. While India's startup ecosystem has seen tremendous growth, early-stage startups still face numerous challenges that can stifle innovation and delay progress. For many founders, the path from idea to market is fraught with obstacles that range from securing initial funding to navigating bureaucratic hurdles and finding the right talent. Let's dive into some of the core issues these startups face and why addressing them is critical for India's economic future. One of the most pressing challenges is access to capital. Unlike more mature companies, early-stage startups typically don't have the revenue or market validation needed to attract large investors. Instead, they rely on seed funding to fuel their early growth. However, securing this funding is easier said than done. India's venture capital landscape has traditionally been risk-averse when it comes to pre-revenue startups. Investors often prefer to back companies that have already demonstrated some level of market traction, leaving early-stage entrepreneurs to bootstrap or rely on small investments from family and friends. Beyond funding, many startups struggle with navigating India's complex regulatory environment. Despite efforts by the government to simplify compliance through initiatives like Startup India, the reality is that many founders still face delays in areas like tax registration, securing business licenses, and adhering to labor laws. These regulatory roadblocks can be particularly daunting for first-time founders who may not have the legal expertise or resources to manage compliance issues, slowing down their time to market. Another significant challenge is talent acquisition. While India has no shortage of skilled labor, early-stage startups often find it difficult to compete with larger companies when it comes to hiring top talent. This is especially true in sectors like tech, where salaries in established firms far outpace what startups can offer. As a result, many startups struggle to build strong teams capable of executing their vision. In addition, founders frequently face a brain drain, as some of India's brightest minds choose to work abroad in countries with more developed startup ecosystems like the US or Europe. Operational challenges also loom large. Many startups have brilliant ideas but lack the operational expertise to execute them efficiently. This includes everything from managing supply chains and production to handling customer service and scaling distribution. While larger companies have entire teams dedicated to these functions, startups often rely on a small group of founders and employees to handle everything, leading to inefficiencies and potential missteps in execution. Lastly, there's the challenge of scaling. Even when startups manage to successfully navigate the early stages of growth, many hit a wall when trying to expand their operations. This is especially true in India, where infrastructure issues, such as unreliable logistics, poor transportation networks, and inadequate digital infrastructure in rural areas, can limit a startup's ability to reach new markets. Without the ability to scale, startups can find themselves stuck in a cycle of local success, unable to capitalize on the broader opportunities that exist both nationally and internationally. In recent years, Indian startups have not only dominated the domestic market, but also started making significant inroads into international markets. This global expansion is a critical part of India's journey toward becoming a $10 trillion economy. As startups begin to scale beyond India's borders, they bring with them a unique blend of cost-efficient innovation and robust technology solutions that are increasingly appealing to international investors and consumers. One of the key sectors where Indian startups are making a global impact is in Fintech. Companies like Paytm, Razorpay, and Pine Labs have revolutionized digital payments in India, a country that has traditionally been cash-heavy. These startups, having refined their solutions in one of the most complex and diverse markets in the world, are now expanding into Southeast Asia, Africa, and even parts of Europe. In these regions, Indian fintech solutions are particularly attractive because they offer scalable, cost-effective alternatives to the often cumbersome traditional banking infrastructure. Similarly, Indian SaaS, software as a service, companies are gaining ground on the global stage. Startups like Zoho, Freshworks, and BrowserStack have built powerful platforms that cater to businesses across the globe. What makes Indian SaaS startups unique is their ability to deliver high-quality software at a fraction of the cost compared to their Western counterparts. This value proposition has allowed these companies to compete with major players in the US and Europe, making them attractive options for small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, looking to cut costs without compromising on functionality. E-commerce is another sector where Indian startups are making waves globally. Companies like Flipkart and Zomato, which have dominated the Indian market, are now expanding into international territories, bringing with them the lessons learned from navigating India's challenging logistics and customer behavior. Zomato, for example, has successfully expanded its food delivery services to the Middle East and other regions, while Flipkart is eyeing opportunities in Southeast Asia. But it's not just about entering new markets. Indian startups are also attracting significant foreign investment. As international venture capital firms recognize the potential of India's startups to scale globally, they are increasingly directing capital into the ecosystem. In 2021, Indian startups attracted more than $30 billion in investment, with a significant portion coming from global investors like Sequoia Capital, SoftBank, and Tiger Global. This influx of capital not only helps startups scale faster, but also brings in valuable international expertise and networks that can accelerate their growth. India's fintech sector is one of the most dynamic and fast-growing in the world. With over 2,000 fintech startups operating across the country, this sector is not only transforming the way Indians access financial services, but also playing a crucial role in formalizing the country's economy. For a nation where a significant portion of the population remains unbanked, fintech has become the bridge to financial inclusion, helping millions of people access banking, credit, insurance, and investment opportunities for the first time. One of the major drivers of fintech growth in India has been the rapid adoption of digital payments. The introduction of the Unified Payments Interface, UPI, by the National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI, in 2016 revolutionized the way people transfer money. UPI allows instant, real-time payments between bank accounts via mobile devices and has become a preferred method of payment for millions of Indians. In fact, UPI processed over 40 billion transactions in 2021 alone, highlighting the massive shift from cash to digital payments. Fintech startups like Paytm, PhonePe, and Google Pay have played a pivotal role in popularizing UPI and other digital payment methods. These platforms have made it easier for consumers to make payments, businesses to receive money, and even street vendors to go cashless. The democratization of payments has not only enhanced financial inclusion, but also reduced the reliance on cash, a crucial factor in India's journey toward becoming a $10 trillion economy. Beyond digital payments, Fintech is also transforming lending. Traditional banks in India have historically been reluctant to lend to small businesses and individuals without formal credit histories. Fintech startups are stepping into this gap by using alternative data, such as transaction history, social media activity, and even smartphone usage patterns, to assess creditworthiness. Companies like CreditBee, LendingCart, and Capital Float are leveraging technology to provide quick, hassle-free loans to small businesses and individuals, helping them grow and participate more fully in the economy. The rise of digital lending platforms has been a game-changer for India's vast informal sector, which includes millions of micro-entrepreneurs, street vendors, and small retailers. By providing access to credit, fintech startups are enabling these businesses to expand, hire more employees, and increase their contributions to the economy. This bottom-up approach to economic growth is critical as India works to formalize its economy and bring more people into the financial system. Fintech is also making strides in other areas, such as insurance and wealth management. Startups like PolicyBazaar and Grow are making it easier for Indians to buy insurance policies and invest in stocks and mutual funds, even if they've never done so before. These platforms use simple, user-friendly interfaces and educational content to demystify financial products, empowering everyday consumers to take control of their financial futures. The education technology, Edtech, sector in India has witnessed a meteoric rise over the past few years, and it's not hard to see why. With a population of over 250 million students, India represents one of the largest education markets in the world. However, the traditional education system has long struggled with issues like outdated curricula, a lack of infrastructure, and an overemphasis on rote learning. This is where EdTech startups have stepped in, offering innovative solutions that are transforming how students learn, teachers teach, and institutions operate. The COVID-19 pandemic acted as a major catalyst for the growth of EdTech in India. With schools and colleges forced to close their doors, millions of students suddenly found themselves without access to education. EdTech platforms like BYJU's, Unacademy, and Vedanta saw a surge in demand as students turned to online learning to continue their education. These platforms, which offer everything from K-12 tutoring to competitive exam preparation and professional upskilling, have rapidly become integral parts of India's education ecosystem. But what makes EdTech so transformative in India isn't just the accessibility it offers, it's the ability to personalize learning experiences. Unlike the one-size-fits-all approach of traditional education, EdTech platforms use data and artificial intelligence to tailor lessons to individual students' learning styles, paces, and interests. This personalized approach is helping students learn more effectively, improving retention rates, and boosting academic performance. Moreover, EdTech is democratizing access to quality education. In a country where there is often a significant gap between rural and urban education standards, EdTech platforms are making it possible for students in even the most remote parts of India to access top-tier educational resources. With the widespread availability of affordable smartphones and improving internet connectivity, platforms like BYJU's are reaching millions of students who would otherwise be left behind by the traditional system. But EdTech's impact isn't limited to K-12 education. Startups in the space are also focusing on lifelong learning and upskilling for adults. Platforms like Upgrad, Simpliliarn, and Great Learning offer courses in everything from data science to digital marketing, helping professionals stay competitive in an ever-evolving job market. In a country like India, where unemployment and underemployment are significant concerns, these platforms are providing much-needed training and skill development that can lead to better job opportunities. The growth of EdTech is also attracting significant investment. In 2021 alone, Indian EdTech startups raised over $4.7 billion in funding, with major players like BYJU's and Unacademy achieving unicorn status. This influx of capital is enabling EdTech companies to expand their offerings, improve their platforms, and reach more students across the country. India's healthcare system has long been plagued by inefficiencies, limited access, and a shortage of medical professionals, particularly in rural areas. The COVID-19 pandemic brought these issues into stark relief. exposing critical gaps in the system and highlighting the need for a more robust healthcare infrastructure. Enter Healthtech startups, which are revolutionizing the way healthcare is delivered, accessed, and managed across the country. Healthtech in India has seen rapid growth, driven by the need to improve access to medical services for a population of over 1.4 billion people. Startups in this space are leveraging technology to bridge the gap between healthcare providers and patients, particularly in underserved areas. From telemedicine platforms to AI-driven diagnostics, healthtech companies are playing a pivotal role in transforming India's healthcare landscape. One of the most significant innovations in this space is telemedicine. Platforms like Practo, 1mg, and mFine are enabling millions of Indians to consult with doctors remotely, reducing the need for in-person visits and providing healthcare access to those in remote or rural areas. For a country where large portions of the population live in regions with limited healthcare facilities, telemedicine is a game changer. Patients can now receive expert consultations, diagnostic services, and even prescriptions, all through their smartphones. Healthtech startups are also revolutionizing diagnostics. Traditional diagnostic services in India are often expensive and inaccessible to many. Companies like Healthians and Sigtuple are changing that by using AI and machine learning to provide more affordable and accessible diagnostic solutions. These platforms allow patients to book tests online, have samples collected from their homes, and receive results digitally, all while ensuring that the process is faster and more cost-effective than traditional diagnostic methods. Additionally, AI is playing a transformative role in healthcare. From analyzing medical data to predicting disease outbreaks, AI-powered platforms are making healthcare more efficient and effective. For example, startups like Niramai are using AI to develop cutting-edge, non-invasive breast cancer screening tools, which are especially important in a country where cancer detection and treatment have historically been limited by both awareness and infrastructure. Another critical area where health-tech startups are making an impact is in the management of chronic diseases. India has one of the highest rates of diabetes in the world, and conditions like hypertension and cardiovascular disease are on the rise. Startups like Beato and Weldai Therapeutics are helping patients manage these chronic conditions through mobile apps that provide personalized health plans, real-time monitoring, and access to medical professionals. These platforms empower patients to take control of their health, reducing the burden on an already strained healthcare system. Beyond diagnostics and treatment, healthtech is also improving the overall efficiency of healthcare delivery. Startups like Medica Bazaar are streamlining the procurement process for medical supplies, ensuring that hospitals and clinics have access to the equipment they need at the right time and price. This is particularly important in rural areas, where the lack of infrastructure and supply chain inefficiencies often lead to shortages of critical medical supplies. The rapid growth of healthtech in India is attracting significant investment from both domestic and international players. In 2021, healthtech startups in India raised over $1.9 billion in funding, signaling strong investor confidence in the sector's potential to reshape healthcare delivery. However, the sector faces several challenges, including regulatory hurdles and the need to build trust among patients and healthcare providers. Artificial intelligence, AI, is rapidly transforming industries across the globe, and India is no exception. From healthcare to fintech, education to e-commerce, AI is being integrated into a wide range of sectors, making processes more efficient, improving customer experiences, and unlocking new opportunities for innovation. For Indian startups, AI is not just a buzzword. It's becoming a core part of their strategy to scale, compete, and succeed. In fintech, AI is revolutionizing the way financial services are delivered. Startups are using AI to assess creditworthiness, detect fraud, and personalize financial products for users. For example, companies like ZestMoney and MoneyTap are leveraging AI to provide instant credit to individuals without traditional credit histories, using alternative data such as mobile usage patterns and social media activity to determine credit risk. This AI-driven approach is expanding access to credit for millions of Indians who have historically been underserved by traditional financial institutions. In healthcare, AI is being used to analyze medical data and improve diagnostics. Startups like Qure.ai are developing AI-powered tools that can interpret medical images like X-rays and CT scans, helping doctors diagnose conditions more accurately and quickly. These tools are particularly valuable in rural areas, where access to radiologists and other specialists is limited. By providing real-time diagnostic support, AI is helping to bridge the gap in healthcare access. AI is also transforming customer experiences in sectors like e-commerce and retail. Companies like Flipkart and Myntra are using AI-powered recommendation engines to personalize the shopping experience for users, increasing customer satisfaction and driving sales. Additionally, AI is helping e-commerce companies optimize their supply chains, reducing delivery times and improving logistics efficiency. In education, AI is being used to personalize learning experiences. Edtech platforms like BYJUs are incorporating AI to tailor lessons based on a student's learning style, pace, and areas of weakness. This level of personalization was previously impossible in traditional classroom settings. But with AI, students can now receive a more individualized learning experience that improves their academic outcomes. India's e-commerce sector has undergone an unprecedented transformation in the past decade, and it has quickly become one of the most significant drivers of the country's economic growth. Fueled by rising internet penetration, increased smartphone adoption, and a growing middle class, e-commerce has opened up a new world of convenience for consumers and created massive opportunities for businesses. Startups have played a key role in shaping this landscape, introducing innovative business models, streamlining logistics, and creating jobs. Companies like Flipkart, Snapdeal, and Myntra have become household names. But the real impact of e-commerce goes far beyond the success of these few giants. The e-commerce boom has led to the rise of an entire ecosystem of startups providing solutions across various verticals, from logistics and payment gateways to last-mile delivery and online marketplaces. This ecosystem has allowed even the smallest businesses to reach customers far beyond their local markets, driving economic growth at a grassroots level. One of the key contributions of e-commerce to the Indian economy is job creation. The rise of online retail has led to a surge in demand for delivery personnel, warehouse workers, and customer service representatives, particularly in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Companies like Amazon India and Flipkart have created tens of thousands of jobs, not just in urban centers, but also in smaller towns, where employment opportunities were previously limited. Additionally, by enabling small businesses and artisans to sell their products online, platforms like Amazon's Karigar and Flipkart's Sumearth are helping to preserve traditional crafts while boosting local economies. Logistics startups have also thrived on the back of the e-commerce boom. Companies like Delivery, Ecom Express, and Rivigo have developed advanced logistics networks capable of handling the complexities of delivering goods across India's vast and diverse geography. These logistics solutions are not just improving efficiency in e-commerce. They're helping to reduce supply chain bottlenecks in other sectors as well, from agriculture to manufacturing. Moreover, the convenience of online shopping has led to a significant shift in consumer behavior. Increasingly, consumers are opting for digital payments over cash, thanks to platforms like Paytm, Google Pay, and PhonePe. This shift away from a cash-based economy is helping to formalize the informal sector, bringing more businesses into the tax net and increasing transparency in transactions. The growth of digital payments has also contributed to the rise of the gig economy, where freelancers and micro-entrepreneurs can easily transact and receive payments for their services, further boosting employment. While the e-commerce sector has already made a substantial impact on India's economy, its future potential is even more significant. As internet penetration continues to expand into rural areas and consumers become more comfortable with online shopping, the sector is expected to grow exponentially. By 2026, the Indian e-commerce market is projected to reach $200 billion, creating millions of new jobs and opportunities for businesses to scale. While innovative ideas and strong execution are critical to the success of startups, venture capital, VC, plays an equally important role in fueling their growth. In India, the venture capital ecosystem has expanded rapidly, with a growing number of both domestic and international investors eager to back the next generation of unicorns. But what exactly is the role of VC in scaling startups, and how does it contribute to the broader economy? Venture capital provides the financial muscle that startups need to scale quickly. In exchange for equity, VC firms invest large sums of money that allow startups to hire talent, develop products, enter new markets, and, ultimately, dominate their industries. This injection of capital is crucial in helping startups achieve the kind of hypergrowth needed to compete in both domestic and international markets. One of the most important roles VC firms play is in de-risking innovation. Startups are inherently risky ventures. Most will fail, but those that succeed can generate outsized returns. By investing in a diversified portfolio of startups, venture capitalists spread their risk while giving founders the freedom to innovate and take the bold steps necessary for growth. This risk-taking is essential for sectors like deep tech, healthcare, and fintech, where high upfront investment is needed to develop breakthrough technologies that may take years to become profitable. Beyond just providing capital, venture capital firms also bring expertise, mentorship, and networks to the table. Many VC firms work closely with startups to refine their business models, develop go-to-market strategies, and navigate regulatory challenges. Additionally, VC-backed startups benefit from the connections and relationships that investors bring, which can open doors to key partnerships, talent acquisition, and even future rounds of funding. For the Indian economy, the rise of venture capital has been a game-changer. In 2021 alone, Indian startups raised more than $30 billion in venture capital funding, a testament to the growing confidence investors have in the country's startup ecosystem. This influx of capital has allowed Indian startups to scale rapidly, with companies like Swiggy, Zomato, and Paytm achieving massive growth in a relatively short period. The success of these startups has not only created jobs and wealth, but has also driven innovation across multiple sectors, from food delivery to digital payments. Moreover, venture capital has helped put India on the global startup map. International investors, particularly from the US, China, and Japan, have been instrumental in the rise of Indian unicorns. This global interest has further strengthened India's position as a leading startup hub, attracting even more investment and talent to the ecosystem. However, venture capital in India is not without its challenges. There is a significant disparity between the availability of capital for late-stage startups versus early-stage ones. While mature startups have no trouble attracting investment, early-stage founders often struggle to raise the funds needed to get their ventures off the ground. As mentioned earlier, this is where pre-seed and seed funding become critical in nurturing the next wave of startups. As India's venture capital ecosystem continues to mature, there is immense potential for it to drive the country's economic growth. By providing the capital, mentorship, and networks that startups need to scale, venture capital firms are helping to build the next generation of Indian unicorns, which will play a crucial role in the country's journey to becoming a $10 trillion economy. So, what do you think? Are startups truly the key to unlocking India's $10 trillion economic future? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future updates. Check out the videos appearing on your screen right now for more insights and stories from the world of technology. This is the AI Lib. Stay tuned.